Hey guys, this is Tauna. Today we're going to be covering an upcoming leaked Lord of the Rings bundle that's going to be coming out. It honestly looks amazing, and I am so jealous that we don't have these over here in Australia. So this is going to be a huge upcoming bundle at Costco. It was leaked on Reddit by various different users and Costco employees. It's meant to launch the end of October or the start of November, apparently. And it's similar to the previous bundles for March of the Machine. You've got Lord of the Rings Commander Decks. You've got 2x set boosters. You've got some promo cards as well. And it's 4x promo cards, which is very, very interesting. I'm going to be very interested to see exactly what they do with those promo cards as well, which we'll talk about in just a second. So this is the previous one here, the March of the Machine one that came with a couple different promos. We had 3 different boosters. The huge thing with this one was the Commander Masters boosters. A couple of the decks were really great as well. I am fading away apparently. A couple of decks are really great for March of the Machines. We've talked about this previously on the channel. Even like these play boosters here were good. The promos were great as well. Like at the time, or at the moment, the Jace Memory Sculptor is $4 and the Ajani Mentor of Heroes is $5.65. You know, both really great promos to kind of come alongside it, which means that there is hope. There is hope that the promos could be these ones. These were the promos within the gift bundle previously from Lord of the Rings, the big kind of gift bundle you could get that came with these and came with a whole bunch of set boosters and stuff. And this was the way that, you know, you could get the One Ring pretty easily at the start. I think I got mine and then I traded it in because I didn't need it from any of my decks because we kind of don't play with it. It's just a thing that we've rule zeroed in my group. But either way, you know, these are pretty decent kind of promos to go alongside it. And this was the entry here that they were talking about. So you can see Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings, a Commander bundle, 1 Lord of the Rings Commander deck, 2 LOTR set boosters, 4 foil promo cards, ages 9+. So if you are an 8-year-old, I'm sorry you won't be able to buy this. And down here you can see it is $55. Pretty decent value. We're going to go through all the commander decks and everything. We're going to go through, you know, talk a little bit about the set boosters. But make sure you guys subscribe and stuff. You know, this could be the first video that you've seen of my channel. It could potentially be the last if you're coming from like YouTube recommendations. So just make sure you subscribe because otherwise you may miss out on some amazing kind of, you know, previews into the future like this, or covering like, you know, upcoming sets, all that kind of stuff. We cover so much stuff here on the channel that I'd hate for you guys to miss out on my amazing content. So we're going to start out here with the Elven Council deck. So this one is a voting-based deck with a side of Elf Tribal. You give your opponents a choice of basically, will you do X or Y? Do you get, you know, treasures or do you get to scry? That kind of thing. The issue becomes that most people will vote for the worst option, which we'll talk about a bit later on, and they're, you know, goes what you would like. You would like them to do something that you want. Instead, they're going to vote for whichever one is the worst option for you. It's still going to be potentially a good thing, but it's going to be the worst option. Oddly enough, it has a bunch of non-elves as well that don't really synergize well with the deck. So looking at the deck currently, it's sitting at 55 over on TCG Player. So look, the face commander here is Galadriel. So she is at the beginning of combat. If another elf entered the battlefield under your control, everyone gets to vote on either Dominion or Guidance. If Dominion gets more votes, the ring tempts you and you put a +1/+1 onto your ring bearer. Or if Guidance wins more or a vote is tied, draw a card. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this one. The Arista of the Council, now her, I absolutely love because she works just so much better with the deck and kind of pulls the deck better together. So she is, whenever players finish voting, each opponent who voted for the choice that you voted for creates a treasure, and you scry X, where X is the amount of players who did not choose the one you voted for, and then you draw a card. So this here kind of more wraps together the deck, in my opinion, than Galadriel, who's just another kind of thing to make people vote. We had other, you know, ones as well. We got Radagast here, doesn't really synergize well with the deck, in my opinion. Curtin, the shipwright, when he enters or attacks, each person secretly votes for someone, and then those votes are revealed. Each player who draws a card for each vote they received, and if someone didn't get a vote, boom, now they get to put a permanent onto the battlefield. A very interesting one. And even he, I think, is better than, honestly, Galadriel. We've got Elrond of the White Council, more voting. We've got Gandalf. Each time you cast something with 5 mana or greater, each opponent reveals the top card of their library. If it shares a creature, shares a card type with the card that you cast, you get to copy it, and you may choose new cards for the copy, and each opponent draws a card. Otherwise, you draw a card. This is very nice. Right? Very nice. It says copy that spell too, so it's pretty decent. So some cards of interest in here. We've got like stuff to support either scrying or like your voting and stuff. Some expensive cards that are in here. Heroic Intervention sitting up there at $10 at the moment. You can't really see it past my head. Rise of Palisade is an insanely great card. I need this for so many of my decks because I've got a lot of tribal decks and this would suit so many of them. Arwen is great. Swan Song as well, getting a reprint here, which is good. So my thoughts were, while this place is a nice, this deck is a nice place to start for like a voting based deck, Simic I don't think is the best for elves and having an elf kind of tribal based deck as opposed to say Golgari. The voting also is just not an amazing mechanic because people will just vote for whatever, but if you use Aristar, then that's going to kind of fix it because people will tend to vote for whatever's weakest, but she encourages them to vote for what you voted for, which is what you want. So next we've got the Food and Fellowship one. So this is food-based deck. So we're basing it around food, which is going to be both food tokens and creating food tokens and other kind of, there's a couple other tokens I think in there as well. I think there's also a side theme of like life gain value too. And some nice reprints to kind of go alongside it, like Toxic Deluge. So this deck currently is sitting at 64 over on TCG Player. The Face Commander is a partner one with Frodo and Sam. Frodo based around life gain and being your ring bearer, and then you've got Sam creating food so that way you're able to do that, as well as making it so your foods are cheaper to be able to sacrifice them. The other commander in here you've got is Pippin and Merry. Again, more stuff around foods, or when you create foods, create a 1/1 white soldier. Oh, it's not when you create food, sorry. It's whenever you create an artifact. So really nice. And then you've also got Bilbo in there. So Bilbo's more of, in my opinion, like a meme commander. I don't think he makes like a great face commander, but he could be interesting. He is like you get to 111 life and you win the game because you get to search your library for any number of creatures and put them out onto the battlefield. Insanely cool. I don't think he's the best for the commander for this deck, but he's still a cool commander. So some expensive / cards of interest in here. Birds of Paradise is in here. You've got a lot of these like decent food based cards, and because of the squirrel based deck, that these kind of went up in price a bit. You've got the Gaffer in here as well, making it so you draw cards if you gain life. Mirkwood Bats, as I said, like some creature some token based kind of synergies in here too. So my thoughts is this deck has it all. It has amazing reprints, strong cards, staples for what you want it to do. It combines tokens and like the general tokens and the food tokens really well as like that life gain thing. While it's a minor theme, it's still there and still decent. And it's not like bad. It's stuff you might want to cut if you wanted to make it more food, or you could move more into that life gain. You could build it either way. Like you're in Abzan, there's some really great stuff in there for like life gain and stuff. You could do some really cool stuff with it. Next, we got the Host of Mordor one. This is probably the one I know the least about, by the way. So I've looked up about it and everything. I've read through everything, read through all the cards and stuff. So if I get something slightly wrong here, let me know. So this one here is about amassing orcs and building up an army. A lot of like tokens based around that. It's got some Spellslinger stuff, a lot of like sorceries and everything. Some very minor orc and goblin synergy. Obviously, we're in like Mordor, so we've got a lot of orcs and goblins kind of working there. And there's some kind of like sacrifice / graveyard play to here with like Sauron here allows you to be able to bring stuff back from the graveyard and self-mill and stuff. So this one here is currently most expensive, sitting at 85, but I don't think it's necessarily because of the Face Commander. I think nearly everything else in this deck is better than the Face Commander. Not that he's bad, but I think everything else is potentially better. So Sauron is an 8 mana. Start off with 8 mana. When you cast him, you're amassing 5, milling 5, and then returning something from your graveyard to the battlefield. Trample, and then whenever a commander an opponent controls dies, the ring tempts you. Personally, I just don't think it's all there for him. Now, Saruman is where it's at. Whenever you cast a non-creature, you're going to amass that many orcs, amass that much orc onto your orc army. Then your goblins, your orcs all get ward 2. So great. While Sauron's a big beat stick, he's going to take a while for you to be able to get out, and even then, he's not going to be great, I don't think, as opposed to this Saruman that's going to give you value throughout the whole game. Some other expensive cards or cards of interest. The Cavern Horde or Dragon comes from in here. The Relic of Saruman is an amazing mana rock. We just talked about this in replacements for the banned cards. It's great. Grimmer, a great kind of stealing theft card. Lord of the Nazgul, people are building up this, as well as the fact that it just synergizes well with the rest of the deck too. So my thoughts are there's so many great new cards in this deck, don't get me wrong, but the face commander is just a big oof in cost and what he does. Using Saruman, or you can use the other Sauron the Dark Lord, which is the one that is just from the base set, and he's the one that has a ward. You need to sacrifice a legendary or whatever it is. He amasses and stuff. I just think he's way better for this deck than this Sauron that they put into here. Sauron, oh my god, Saruman, I'm confusing them both. Lots of ways that you can take the deck, though, if you want to lean into more orcs, goblins, more tokens, more amass. You know, you could build into some proliferate kind of stuff. You could build some more sacrifice kind of style stuff. There's lots of great ways you could build this, in my opinion. So next we've got the Rise of Rohan one. Now, this is my personal favorite. Not necessarily the best one. I will talk about which one I think you should get later, but this is my personal favorite. This is one of my chase decks. I really want to get it. I haven't been able to get it here in Australia. It's either been too expensive or just not able to find it at the time. So it's like my chase deck. Anyway, so this is a human tribal deck. So a lot of kind of humans based in here with some mix of some monarch synergies. So it is very much a combat focused deck, in my opinion. It's also partial legendary matters. So, either it's legendary humans, not so much that, just legendaries overall. So when legendaries do stuff, etc. You've also got some token human creation. You can see that from Eowyn here. You've also, this is not too bad. It's 50 over on TCG market. It's not bad. It's the third most expensive one. I think Elven Council's the cheapest, but it's not bad. So wait, was it the cheapest? Can't be bothered checking at the moment. So as for your commanders here, you've got Eowyn as the kind of face commander at the beginning of combat. If another human entered, you get to create 2 red human knight tokens with trample and haste. They're not coming in attacking either. This is at the beginning of combat. You don't necessarily need to attack at them. However, if you control 6 or more humans, then you draw a card. This is really nice in my opinion. And then you've got Aragorn as the secondary commander here, which is when he enters, become the monarch. When he attacks, up to 1 target creature can't block. If you're the monarch, creatures can't block. So if you're attacking, then you can potentially sneak something past to be able to steal the monarch back. Or if you're just the monarch, just boom, just go and attack. Really, really interesting and really fun. Some expensive cards from here. You've got classic kind of tribal stuff. Door of Destiny's got reprinted here. Vanquisher Banner as well. For new cards, you got Taunt from the Ramparts, Goad everything. I picked this up to put it into my Nelly Borka deck, and it is really great in that. You've also got 4th Eorlingus. I cannot pronounce whatever that is. Someone tell me how to pronounce that. You're going to be creating human knight creatures with trample and haste, and then whenever 1 or more creatures you control deals combat damage to 1 or more players this turn, you become the monarch. That's a great way to become the monarch and just create so many nice tokens to go alongside the rest of your deck. So my thoughts, human is such a huge creature type. You can get so many different upgrades for this. You can build it so many different ways. It's a very fun deck to build upon if you want to do a combat based deck. I have played this deck, by the way, just online, not in person. It's just when I'm saying it's my chase deck to get it in person and be able to build it up, be able to, deck it out kind of thing. So as for the actual set boosts and stuff, currently these are sitting at like, you know, $9.56. You're going to be able to get 2 of these from it. So that's like, you know, almost $20 value just there. There is some insane cards from this set for chase cards. Like, you know, you've got the Orcish Bowmasters, Mithril Coat. These are 2 rares, by the way, that are up here. You've got the One Ring, Orcish Bowmasters, Larch Master. The Ant is really great. Palantir of Orthac. I really want one of those too for so many different decks. We've got a bunch of Nazgul in here. Sauron the Dark Lord is a really great commander and really great. We've got Mount Doom here too. So as for the summary, you know, 3 of these are really, really great precons and very much worth picking up. The Elven Council is the only one I'd say meh about. It's still a good precon. It is not great for new players. I will say that straight now. It is not a good precon for new players because it's just more convoluted. You could pick it up and play it, but it's just going to be more convoluted, a little bit more to get used to. But it does have value in it, right? It does have some valuable cards and some great stuff and can be fun to play with it. So $55 for 2 of these boosters, and the precon is really good. We don't know what the freaking promos are going to be in this, but if the promos in this are like insane, like the One Ring, if the promos are the One Ring, I doubt they will be, but they could be. It's going to go off the shelves before anyone's going to be able to see them. But any kind of promos from this set could be really great. I am so jealous you guys get these. As I said, these precons are harder to find over here in Australia at the moment. And they're good. So in order, I would say pick up Food and Fellowship first, which is probably going to be it's not going to be a very popular opinion in my opinion, but I think that that's a better deck overall. Hosts of Mordor is a great deck still though. These 2 are very close. Then Riders of Rohan and then Elven Council. Elven Council is the one I would suggest the least to pick up, but I still think it's worth picking up. I still think you could have fun with it. I think you could build it very interestingly. So what are your thoughts? Will you be picking them up? I'm super duper jealous of them. If anyone wants to grab one of the Riders of Rohan ones and donate it to the channel, I would love that. Hit me up on Discord or something like that. My Discord's links should be in the description. I really want to get this deck, and it's so hard to find and stuff. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you going to pick them up from Costco or not over here, over in the US and Canada? So have a great day and goodbye.